I don't even know what we titled this podcast, but we are here with Omar Reed and
Roy.
Roy's got some stuff that's close to home that'd be worth discussing. So yeah, let's
Yeah.
get into it.
So maybe I should give an intro on some recent events. So I believe this was on a Sunday. So not this Sunday, the Sunday before. There was a flight from Montreal in Canada, to Boston. I mean, not Boston, to
New
New York.
York.
This was a flight that happened to have quite a few AI researchers on it. One of them actually being my advisor. Who
Wow.
was on the plane to go to New York for a conference around AI. And in fact, there were quite a number of researchers who were supposed to attend that conference from Canada. But unfortunately, upon arriving in New York, the plane had crashed into a fire truck on
Mm-hmm.
tarmac, which is very, very random. Um,
Very random.
very random. I don't know what's happening with American airports right now, but
Mm.
it's really unfortunate. This plane essentially, yeah, crashed, sort of landed and then crashed into this sort of fire truck. Um, Everybody survived except for two pilots.
The two pilots. Yeah, rest in peace, them two pilots.
Yeah, so I just wanted to send my condolences over to the family of the pilots. I think they risked their lives in trying to
Mm.
sort of safeten the blow because I think it could have been much worse. Um,
Oh wow.
Much worse. And I'm also, in some sense, also glad that at least some people within the plane could go back home to their family. So I just wanted to sort of dedicate that first portion to the family of the deceased and those who were involved in that plane crash.
Beautiful.
Um, yeah, actually, funny enough, the CEO was fired just today. The CEO of Air Canada.
Really? Of Air Canada?
Yeah.
No, that's nuts. You might
He
not serious.
he was well, not fired. I mean, it's a formality, but he retired. Um,
Okay.
the retirement was, but he was forced to do so because when he was giving his condolences to the pilots, he had only expressed a message in English and not in French as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So
No,
obviously this
hold
is a
on.
big thing in Canada because it's bilingual, but
Oh,
uh,
that that sounds fair enough. They really care about making sure people speak French and whatnot. So
100%. And I think
I'll let
one of the
them do their
pilots was
thing.
actually one of the pilots was actually Quebecois, if not both of them.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. If he's Quebecois immediately.
It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's just that a little bit of a homage to those involved in that plane.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, so on to the stop the AI race. Omar, have you
Mm-hmm.
looked at this?
Immediately I wanted to do a to mimic him. The AI is gonna kill everybody. And I'm telling you all here. Yo, they get like 0 points for charisma. But like, I love that like you always need nerds that really care about like something.
Yeah,
Because like they're the ones that will push you forward in ways you never think of. But 99% of the time, you're like, what are you doing? Like
always
why do you care?
very low aura. I won't lie.
He's a low aura. Facts.
It's a bit of low aura, but man, shame. I know some people who were part of that. But maybe for some context,
Mm-hmm.
basically, there was a bunch of AI researchers in the AI safety space. So AI safety is a space that, as it says in the term, care very deeply about deploying AI safely. And
Mm-hmm.
what they basically were protesting for was for these big labs, namely Anthropic, OpenAI, and XAI, Elon Musk, to basically stop model progress. So stop releasing model progress so that we can essentially understand the implications of these systems.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a pretty so they essentially called this the stop the AI or pause AI movement. So
Pause
they have
AI movement.
a
Yeah.
bunch of Twitter pages, and you know what Omar was mimicking there was essentially what that looked like. But you know, this is not the first time we've heard this. So this is not like,
Oh no,
and I
no.
think
This is
Omar
this.
had some experiences with some people in this space.
Yeah. There's like a large spectrum of people on like this AI safety thing. There's people that are like AI is gonna take over the whole world. It's gonna reorganize, our whole society. Humanity is not ready for this rate of change. Which, if you're anyone in the moment, you look and you go, fair enough. It's like it's sort of true. A lot of us are like worried about our jobs, worried about if our job's gonna exist in 1 year, 2 year, 5 years time. So there is some real fear that comes up with people when they talk about AI, but their fear, from my point in the spectrum, is like excessive. Like, think about this: the only time black people really protested for was like Black Lives Matter. That was like everybody was outside. This is white nerds. Black Lives Matter. Okay, they're like, we have to hold humanity. We have to uphold these rules for humanity. We're the only ones that understand data centers are dangerous. We need to tell the AI labs to stop, and they have all of these excellent arguments for why. So I was mimicking that guy, but like his arguments are like relatively valid. Well, stop is strong, but like we should make sure that when we are building these systems, training these systems, we're not putting them in disadvantaged communities like they did in Tennessee. I think it was like XL Grok, for example. And oh my god, it's so bad. The fumes from the gas turbines, because they couldn't get power quickly enough, so they have the gas turbines. Then also the vibrations. So the vibrations of these things running, it literally is like like in a movie where they'll have like a sonic weapon and they shoot it and then everyone's like, oh, my head is gonna explode. It's sort of like that. There's a great video on YouTube that I do not remember the name of, but he goes straight. He explains this whole thing and it's really really interesting. I'm annoyed. I'm blanking on the whole concept
No,
right now, but it's like, even if we don't even look at like the ramifications of like, oh, what if it becomes super intelligent, which is not right now. It's like, for the promise of super intelligence, there's real people who are being like their livelihoods are being damaged, to like their health is being damaged today. And it's very problematic. So I sympathize when I hear him like stop AI progress. I would, if I was living in one of these random towns that have no money coming in and they say bring a data center please, I would join these Stop AI people and be like, no, I don't want this. I don't want this data center. I cannot use ChatGPT. If you left it at Opus 4.6, I'll be happy. Like, what?
it's good enough.
Stop. It's good enough. Like, please. Like, we don't have to continue this. So, like, I really do understand where they're coming from, but sometimes it's like, all right, guys, just relax. It goes a bit far. So that was my thoughts on this video. It was funny. It went viral.
Yeah, it's
Low aura.
it's a bit difficult to. I mean, stopping the progress is difficult. I mean, as
Mm-hmm.
long as capital is involved, it's a bit of a tricky thing to ask these corporations to stop, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we've seen OpenAI move from non-profit to for-profit for
Mm-hmm.
capital reasons. I think I even heard that OpenAI and Anthropic are planning to go public relatively soon. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but we'll see. So I think the capital incentives is a little bit difficult. I mean, those make it difficult to actually implement it's like safe, like sort of safe AI, like stop AI
Mm-hmm.
rather.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Wait. Let's stop on that.
yeah,
The like You can start off in the stop AI camp. So a lot of the people that worked at Anthropic, they left OpenAI because they were like, OpenAI is not taking the safety stuff enough. Like, we're really scared. We wanna invest way more into research, way more into guardrails. OpenAI didn't want to do that, so they made Anthropic. But Anthropic now is starting to taste money. They're like, we want to work with the Pentagon. in tech, working with the military was like there's like a big no-no. But now, look, once that money is coming in and you're raising billions every month, your company might be worth trillions. Like everything starts to get whooped. Everything starts to get. You have leaders in Saudi Arabia, the UAE coming to you like, yo, we want to invest billions of dollars in you. We'll even create data centers here. Like, even if it was just hype to begin with,
Mm.
you will start to believe the hype.
I
You
mean,
have world leaders coming to you.
I mean, even when you hear Dario, the CEO of Anthropic,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he says the most crazy things now. Like,
For real.
like, in the next 2 years, we won't need software engineers, or like,
Mm-hmm.
people will be out of jobs. Like, we're gonna, like, I think, it's one of those things where I love this Mike Tyson quote where they're like, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So you step out of OpenAI and say, hey, we want to create a more safer AI, we want to do this and that. But when you're in the arena, like, you do as the Romans in some sense.
Mm.
And I think this is also in reaction to a recent statement, not a statement, but a policy that was released internally within Anthropic, in which they basically admitted that, hey, we we care a lot about safety, and they do. Like, they have a lot of fellowships, safety fellowships. They hire quite aggressively for people interested in safety. But they were like, we don't actually know how to quantify the risks of these systems. And
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, we also had, established our safety policy in the hope that there will be a lot more, there'll be a lot more collaboration with other bigger labs. But we're unable to get a collaboration with these bigger labs. So, we have to do what's within our best interest. That was really the TLDR policy. And it's just what it is, right? But maybe
How did they take it? That's like a big like sort of like admission of like a switch almost a little bit for them.
I think this is one of the fuels to the fire for the Stop the AI movement. I think they're looking at,
Oh.
for example, what's happening here and saying, hey, like, because Anthropic was popular for a millisecond of a second when they basically refused
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
well refused to at refused to comply 100% towards what
With the
was
gun,
asked
yeah.
at the Pentagon, or rather whatever the military industrial complex in the US.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wouldn't even say a millisecond. They gained notoriety like throughout the whole because most tech people are relatively liberal. And we don't like to think that like, oh, the knowledge we have is being used against others or to kill other people. Like at Google and Microsoft when um they were providing cloud services to Israel, for example, the employees were like, no, 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 cut it out. But
yeah,
obviously they couldn't stop it, yeah,
yeah,
because it's Google. And Microsoft. What are you gonna do? We don't even have unions like that in tech.
yeah,
So when Anthropic did that, it was like, whoa, dude! Like I saw a guy you introduced me to. His name's Yash. He did a whole post on LinkedIn, like, nah, I can't believe it. I canceled my OpenAI subscription. Like I'm with Anthropic. I'm not supporting genocides anywhere.
yeah.
That's how people took the Anthropic. A couple weeks later, they won their court case, so they're able to be they're not sanctioned by the U.S. government, basically. So that's a win for them.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we can also sort of get into like, apart from, people, because okay, a lot of these people who are on the street are also very credible people, like David Kruger, for example,
Yes,
was
this is
the
this is
huge.
worth actually connecting to before. Um, so like the AI safety people, like and particularly like Anthropic, you have to realize when you hear these stop the AI people, these are the same people as the Anthropic people. Like these are some of like the best AI researchers, been doing this for a while, been working in the industry. There's actually a small handful of them, and they're all in a little bubble in San Francisco, and they just extreme, extreme, extreme. But like when you have a belief that is so strong, these guys have effectively willed this whole thing into existence,
Mm,
and it's impressive. It's impressive. So like there's there's strong ties between these like stop AI movements and these tech companies like OpenAI.
Yeah, it's the same people, just on a different side of
Mhm.
the coin, right? Like,
Yes.
and I wanted to plug here, David Kruger, who was actually, one of the people on who was marching, who is a professor here at Miller. But he has his own, I think it's a non-profit or potentially for-profit called Evitable. So I think it's pretty much the same rhetoric
Hmm.
around building safe AI. And, we have a lot of like, mutual friends or a lot of people that we know, like Timnet, who's not so much in the
Yeah,
AI
yeah, yeah.
safety space,
Hmm.
but I guess in trying to build equitable AI,
Yeah.
there's a couple, safety organizations that are, thinking very deeply about it. Even, for example,
Hmm.
here in Montreal, Yoshua Bengio, who was one of
Hmm.
the Turing Award winners. Um,
Okay. Yeah, for
yeah,
the people at home, what is a Turing Award? The odds are they won't know that. And who is Joshua Benjo? Who is this titan that they don't know about?
yeah. So a Turing Award is almost like the Nobel Prize of computing. So like,
Hmm.
you know, it's the most distinguished award anybody in the computer sciences could win. And I think it was 2019. This award was given to three notable AI researchers. Uh, Yann LeCun, who used to be at Facebook, and now he created his own startup. And then Jeffrey Hinton, who's known as the godfather of AI. And then the third being Yoshua Bengio. So Yoshua Bengio is here in Montreal. He actually is the founder of a research institution called Miller, which I'm currently at as we speak right now. I'm
Hmm.
doing this call from. And I think he's the most cited researcher ever.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like he has the most like citations of a researcher ever in history. He basically stepped down in his role from Miller and created his own nonprofit that just raised about 30 million USD from
Gee,
like
a reasonable number. 30 million,
30
not
million,
1 billion.
30 million. So basically, their mission is to try and create safe AI. And the way they're doing it is that they want to build something called a scientist AI, which observes another AI. I can get into the technicalities, but maybe I want to spare the details. There are people who think about this very, very deeply.
Yes.
So that's encouraging, and I think we do need these types
Hmm.
of systems.
Yeah. My favorite. I'm a big fan of Dare, obviously,
Yeah.
because of the open AI, Black and AI connection. That's where me and Roy and all of our friends met. But I particularly like Dare's approach because they are very much recently they made a shift where they're not buying into the premise of bullies and they really just take what is said in the news around AI and all of these like hypey buzzy statements and like with a really critical thorough lens like really break it down to like okay what is true here and what is not um and that's fun entertaining. They also have a book called the AI Con which came out which I have I need to finish it. It's funny because now I read AI books and I'm like, I was there for that. So, so I'm like, never mind. I don't need to read this. It was a crazy experience. Um, and most importantly, she had a podcast appearance where she spoke about like how they just stopped buying into their ideas because what happens is that like if you're like stop what the bullies are doing then you're sort of like buying into their vision of the future and you're like yo stop doing that stop doing that stop
Mm,
doing that stop doing that. That's why they got rid of her from Google because they were like oh you're annoying us now, let us cook, let us do our shit. um and they made a really nice change to being like all right, forget what they're doing because they're not listening to us. If we sit and think about like what we want and what will best serve our communities from the ground up and those principles, that is what we want to build.
mhm.
That is how we want to use AI as a tool to empower people. Not like, oh, it's gonna come and take all your jobs. No, it's such a that shift of like reclaiming our or like imagination for ourselves. I think that's an excellent shift, and I've been keeping up to see like where they take this. It's almost like an intersection between tech, humanities, product
Mm.
design, really thinking about it from first principles with like real people and communities, particularly underprivileged communities in mind.
Can I ask you a question?
Hmm.
What is there? What
What
is
is there?
there?
That's a great
What
point.
is what is law zero? What is evitable? What are these like? There's also the one in Africa called the Econos Institute. Like,
Oh
what
wow.
are these? The way I see them, they're almost like AI safety think tanks, right?
Think tanks is a great word.
That's where I see it. But I don't know how do you place them in the ecosystem?
Yo, like all of them are okay. We have some people that know AI stuff, and they all have different agendas. And it's like, okay, can we gather the resources for our agenda and then use our knowledge to do something useful? And then and then their defines useful in a way of like, you know, making sure that minority voices are heard, making sure these tools benefit people. Some other people have agendas of some people's agendas are fuck all of that. Build more data centers, make nuclear power, um, and provide research or information that they can put out that will it's almost like war, it's almost like propaganda.
Yeah.
You know how like there's like the Heritage Foundation or some there's like right-wing foundations that put out research, and there's also left-wing foundations that put out research.
Mm.
All of these things like push certain agendas, and we have to like, and the way I look at it is like, I don't know all of them, but if I care about something and I find out like, oh, there, for example, they worked with a bunch of people that worked in the data labeling industry in Africa and got all of their stories together, produced this like amazing pieces of work to bring awareness to this fact
Mm.
that this is going on. To me, that's the kind of work that I'm like super interested in. These are the stories that go unheard. These are the work that gets overlooked. It feels like colonization all over again, but with
Yeah.
data.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes missed, like just gets missed in common rhetoric because we're distracted by Dario saying your jobs are gone tomorrow. Be scared.
Yeah.
When you're in that scared mode, like you can't. It's almost like you lose agency. So that's why I think that shift was that they did is powerful. It's like I can regain my agency if I stop worrying about what these guys are saying and really take it down bit by bit, see where the hype is, see what's true, then take what's true and do something useful that you care about. I don't know what Yoshua Benjo is doing,
More
but
buildable.
everyone's doing their own take on for what is going to be more beneficial, depending on to what extent you believe in what reality. OpenAI is like, I'm sending everybody to an interplanetary species, dude. Like, even if we have to burn down California, you need GPU. Like, everyone has their own like nuts belief system, and some attract capital, some don't, and the ones that sort of attract capital seem to be the ones that like are controlling the narrative right now.
Yeah, yeah. I can't put my finger on it, but I think you're right. They're trying to make it as equitable as possible in the way that they understand
Yes,
uh,
yes, perfect.
these things to be done. Yeah, interesting, really interesting. Do you want to take us away and then and deep dive into the AI and the return to being a human?
Yeah. So I often end up in discussions where it doesn't matter if it's at work with executives or a conference with like other AI engineers, or if it's I'm going to do like some volunteering at my uni to coach some students. Everyone's like is like the ones that know about AI are trying to understand like their place in the world. I think everyone is sort of dealing with like where is my place in the world? And I'll give an example to sort of like bring this home for especially if you're an engineer, you'll get this, but even if you're not, you should still understand. As an engineer, if you like pre December 2025, actually no, pre LLM, just make it pre LLM. There was like almost like a pride in like you at being the kind of person who writes really good code. Like takes the time to press all the buttons and do all the if and else statements, and you know how sleek your algorithm was. You know how simple and beautiful is it? There was like a almost like a appreciation or art to it. And when that went away, because all right, now I can just tell the computer, and it's gonna write pretty good code straight away. You're left with like, hold on a second, hold on a second. So if anyone can just write code, and the cost of code has become cheaper, you start to be like, well, how valuable am I really? This is the question that everyone is like, there's so much tension. There's like, so developers, sometimes you see developers avoid using coding tools entirely because that's a hard, why would I even want to confront that reality? I'm going to wait for, I'm going to share all the negative news stories about AI so that other people, anytime something bad happens, I'll be like, look, that's why you shouldn't use it. Because if you use these tools and you realize they're good, you gotta accept the reality that you so much of your pride and ego and identity was attached to being like the guy who can write this, and that creates big problems. So what I've been seeing, and it doesn't matter if you're an engineer, it doesn't matter if you're particularly managers, to be honest. Actually, they might have it the worst. They are having like identity crises. It's like who, who, what we thought we were valuable for has become less valuable. So then we're like, wait, but my whole being can't be less valuable. So how does that work? Every single time it's an identity crisis that causes a lot of tension in people. And this video that I I came across, I think it was yesterday, is by a guy called Joe Hudson. Um, Maybe some people know him. He is a executive coach for the Darios, the senior leadership team for Anthropic, OpenAI. Sam Altman, literally, he's Sam Altman's coach. And he does like a lot of like relational work. He's more like, how can I teach people to like accept their emotions,
There's a
or
soothing voice, by the way.
like super soothing voice, super like. I recommend everyone just type in Joe Hudson, go look at his videos of him like coaching people. He'll do like 10 minutes, and then you'll see him like help someone just stop their like, they might be beating themselves up a lot in their head, and they'll just stop that, and you'll see the relief in their face, and it's crazy. And he works with a lot of AI people, and he made a video about AI, which was a surprise, but pleasant. And he made this point, like, what's happening is that since the Industrial Revolution, we've effectively been trying to get ourselves to be more machine-like. So if you think about, if I know me, like when you saw like a Sheldon Cooper or you saw a Spock, you were like, if I just be more like that, I will be more valuable, more successful, because I'm gonna be one with the machine. My code will be great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have this taste that no one else has, with my handwritten if else statements. But he points out like what that really is it sort of like shifted us away from being, like, and he means like, by being he means like literally being, but like being more human. And it's almost like, wait, the machines can write all the code. To him, it's like, oh, that's great, because it means that we can like sort of take some time to be more of who we have always been.
Can I ask a question here? Just to
Please do.
paint a picture here. What does he define as being more human?
Oh, why? Sorry. Yeah. He specifically says, it's about being, so I'm gonna have to step here so that I can remember. So he goes, industrial age, what was useful was like basically physical, or before physical, industrial age, like physical strength, or around industrial age physical strength. Then we have the knowledge economy, What's useful there? Like knowledge, knowing things, applying knowledge. But in the AI age, if we see how things change, what becomes valuable is wisdom. How well do you understand yourself and others so that you can achieve the goals that you set out? So be being human, I guess, is like almost like a process, but he's talking about in this video of like, okay, we might not be able to write code, but how can we understand ourselves and others uh better so that when we do, so we can make great decisions, because great decisions will allow the machines to have great execution.
Mm.
And he used a good example about a like team. Actually, you've seen startups. So right now there's, you see there might be more startups, but there's smaller teams. They're staying smaller because they can ship a lot with just them and a couple AI agents. So you have these smaller, highly valuable teams, but in order for that to work well, those teams need to work really well together. Like, how good you write the code isn't necessarily the make or break anymore. It's how well can you align all of these different parties to move forward in a way that makes sense, to make great decisions in a way that makes sense. That takes relational competence. That takes wisdom. And here's the example that I liked, which was his kids didn't do conventional schooling. So his daughter, it was like 4 or 5 years old, she couldn't really read or write. But then one of his friend's daughters came over and she was speaking two languages. She was speaking English and Chinese, and she was white. So he's like, yo, how did that? My kid can't speak. But he's like, he was getting worried about it. And then he said, and one of his friends said to him, you can always hire someone to be a translator for you. What you cannot hire someone for is to be yourself. If you are able to like really have self-mastery, like this is like one of the most powerful tools of this era, this generation. And I'm gonna link it to our guy Professor Jang in
Yeah,
his
dang.
second to last video, where he was like, if you want to succeed in this next generation, you need to move from efficiency to resilience. And he broke it down in 3 ways. His first category is you need to move from materialism to spirituality. And I remember, when I met these like when I met the effective altruists and all of these like Silicon Valley niches, they would know a lot about like Taoism and Buddhism and all of this stuff. I'm like, why? And I think it's like and even myself, increasingly over time, I'm definitely moved away from the materialism and more to spirituality. And I can tell from my life that has had far more of an impact than any like thing I read in a book.
Mm. So, I have a couple reservations
Mm-hmm.
around the word humanity.
Okay.
Humanity is a very, very loaded term,
Mm.
right? It's an extremely loaded term, and it's a term that we repeatedly see in philosophy. And I think here with Mr. Hudson here is I feel as if there's a conflation
Mm-hmm.
with humanity and your purpose in life and sort of your life's mission, a personal life's mission.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about humanity, it's the collective experience of all humans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's what, like, people talk about a race, people talk about a religion.
Mm-hmm.
Humanity is this collective experience that we have by virtue of being, Homo sapiens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that I think doesn't necessarily need to be, of course, I think the work that you do is obviously tied to how it is that you relate with others, but humanity in that sense doesn't necessarily need to relate to your life's purpose per se, right? Like it could just be essentially enjoying a meal at a table.
Yes, this is his point.
Mm, okay.
So what happens with humanity now? Just go look anywhere or people, whatever the collective experience is. It's like if you go to New York, you'll notice that people like are relatively like dysregulated because there's just so much going on. We have information overload. WHO was like burnout is a disease now because everyone has this problem. His argument is more about like we have a lot of people who are doing like do
Mm,
and they're never being. Like there's people who are eating a meal but they're not being with the meal. They're not sitting and being present with every single bite, with
mm.
every single breath. There's some new thing on Instagram or there's some AI fucking CEO said something for you to worry about. So that what you have to be careful of is actually you see this actually in the research, which is you have people who like you get large language models, and it's funny because it's not like they do. You would think they do less work. Actually, what happens is they end up doing more work.
Mm.
They're not and end up in more stress as opposed to like using the tool, allowing it to do its thing, and so you can be.
So,
And it's because people have difficulty being able to be like, I can be right here not producing. Because basically, capitalism teaches you this that if you are not producing, you are not valuable.
my question is, how probable is it?
Woo!
Because,
Yo, hey.
I think, let's call a spade, right? Like, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in this part of the world, like, especially North America, like, the way things are set up is such that you
Mm.
have to keep doing, right? Like,
So,
for example,
uh-huh.
I know Andrew Yang, for example, who was a political candidate,
Mm-hmm.
who was basically like, we need to have universal basic income, right? Because the universal basic income is essentially what we will need when AI is going to basically allow us to be,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay, I see what's happening. Uh-huh.
So, like, there was a lot of pushback on that, because I think that, like, kind of the frame of mind is that you need to keep doing. Like, if you don't do anything, you're dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that mental shift, potentially AI would force us to think about well, essentially force you, it's almost like a prison sentence, right? You force
Mm-hmm.
you to be.
Well, here's the thing. It won't force you to be, it'll force you to stop doing. And those are not the same. Yeah. So like when he's saying orient towards being, like you can still go work as like he was a VC, Joe Hudson.
He was?
Yeah, he was a VC in yeah, yeah.
We need to talk about VCs at some
Yeah, it's there's a random white man who can speak to people
We need to talk about
and in 10 minutes solve their whole life.
VCs. We gotta really talk
He,
about the good.
he was a VC.
Like, I think VCs are fantastic people. Know many of
Mm-hmm.
them, we know many of them, but I feel like, whew, there's a lot of philosophy going on that side, eh?
Oh, the type of guess who's going to Joe Hudson's things? The A16Z team.
Yeah,
They're going to Joe Hudson's courses.
a lot
These
of
are
philosophy going on there.
we have to really think about it. The people who are able to have executive coaches that know all of this spiritual stuff and the type of people who can take time. Like I probably spend 30, 40 minutes a day doing like, oh, meditation, yoga. There's some people who may not have the luxury to be able to even spend that time, let alone spend money on a very expensive coach teaching you all of these random esoteric things that have nothing to do with your work or it just has to do with your life. Like that's a very privileged and fortunate position to be in. I just
I just think that a lot of the world's economies,
mm-hmm,
especially North America, does
mm-hmm.
not accommodate does not
No,
accommodate being. And like
it because it runs on and Americans, please don't at me. Um, America runs
you know,
on America runs on like a like deficit. Like America literally runs on credit, like actual credit, but like there's almost like an emotional credit. Like um think about it. America's a crazy place where whatever insecurity or doubt you have, they are going to find a way to exploit that. You trying to walk to the gym. The best cookies you've ever had in your life are right next door. Don't eat it. They've designed the food to addict you to it, and they're like, oh yeah, try not to eat us.
Yeah.
Is it like it's like if you look at social media, how they've literally designed it with your psychology in mind of the best ways on how to addict you to this thing. Like it's so hard. Your attention's being drawn this way, that way by so many things. Like to the point where I meet so many Americans. If I say try and like meditate for 5 minutes, they can't. They don't. They find it impossible
Hard.
to sit still and see.
I think that
Yes.
there's a mentality that's really hard to sell here. So, you know, I think, for example, if you look at Europe, I mean, Europe
I was
is,
thinking about France
is the
as yeah,
antithesis of what we're describing here. I think they are,
exactly.
you know, I think they don't have this issue.
No, they go to their coffee shop. They sit and observe their flaneurs. They're thinking about their science and the do all the architecture, wherever they say.
It's striking. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. It is really crazy.
It is. Oh, there's something else. I need to get this off my chest about these Americans.
Go for it.
That it feels like America runs off of low self-esteem. That's what it feels like. No, I am.
Yeah.
Where's the most obese country? Where is it? It's America. What are we talking about? Like, if you think about like so much of like the work. I was listening to Travis Kalanick, and he was saying something about he was doing like a Gary V type thing, but like subtle.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, nah. If you achieve something, and you achieved it, you could have achieved more.
Yeah.
Like you sound like Diddy a little bit. You could achieve more, just more. So could you have done? And he goes like, listen, I think about if a marathon runner, the marathon race doesn't start when the gun goes off. It starts at mile 21.
Yeah.
If you're the person who can endure the most pain, you have a chance, because that's all there is. If you have to put more pain.
Have you seen the Manosphere document?
Oh, great documentary! Fantastic,
Incredible documentary. Incredible. It's exactly. I mean, it's within the space, right? Of like, hyper macho.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, maybe we need to chat about that in a later episode.
Oh yeah, we should leave that for a
We should
section. That'd be a
definitely
good
talk
section.
about that because this is a big issue, I think, personally for me as well. Like, just the state of, you know, the male economy. If,
Yo, we could probably do 30 minutes on that topic alone.
Yeah, that topic is
That's
really big.
Yeah.
There's so much to discuss there. So yeah, man, this was great. Great catch up as usual. We have a lot. I think we've already sort of put in little beacons of what we need to chat about next. I'm especially excited to talk about the Manosphere stuff, but let's chat about that next week.
Yeah, I look forward to chatting with you about that next week.
Okay, man. Take care.
All right, take care. In a bit.
Bye.
Bye-bye.